Our next matchup today is SIB going head-to-head against VengeurR here for Week 7 of the Quake Pro League. So welcome back. My name's Ketchup, joined by Lethal. I think I always do that instinctively because you're there on my screen, but I'm actually pointing in the wrong direction. I should be doing that, knowing that we have a mirror effect, and also try not to cut my arm off, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I could
anyway,
all the time as well.
Enough of that. This next matchup, I think, is going to be, I think, quite a challenge for SIB, right? Because VengeurR is just one of those players that is always held in the highest esteem, one of the best to ever do it in this game. Is no stranger to success and is always gunning for that number one spot. Now, in the case of SIB is definitely, I think, a lot more consistent here than he was kind of previously, in the sense that when we first saw SIB, I think that SIB, even in some of the various performances, he was kind of stuck in like a middle ground, right? Where he was totally fine in the challenges. He was totally comfortable in the challenges and almost felt like no one could really take it to him there. But then when it came to the actual, qualification period, it was a bit difficult. Whereas here, in this instance, you get to play everyone. So the opportunity to improve and to just get more experience versus a lot more players, I think, is more readily available than when we very first saw SIB when the Pro League had began, when it was split into regions, right? So it's a very, very, very different story where now you're going up against really the absolute cream of the crop, and there's no way to get around it. When it comes to player progression, surely that has to mean something, because you're constantly getting all this experience. Going up against VengeurR, I think, is going to be that same kind of experience, because now you're going up against like one of the best, and it's going to be tricky.
Yeah, this is going to be a serious challenge for SIB, I'm sure. VengeurR's going to be looking to continue his scoreline. Like, I think it's fair to say that SIB was on the same boat in terms of how SIB and Kron is positioned just a little bit higher up, because he has had a slightly better map record, and also he's played like one match, maybe two matches less. But look at this though, Wenger's freoed everyone bar Dramas, and it's not like he's had soft opponents either. Like, even Frio in Maxter is huge. Frio in Chain as well from the very get-go of the league, and Frio in Tox, it's a big feat in itself. And you remember that VengeurR also has a match in hand, so if he freos this, then he'll be in prime position to take the top spot. But of course, it does depend on how Rafa and Razy perform as well, just due to the fact that they have played one more match compared to VengeurR. But if he wins one more 3-0 like this one, he will be in the top spot of the leaderboard, and that's going to give him a huge boost of confidence. As you've got to remember, VengeurR is last year's champion. Of course, we know Kilson won it the most recent year as well. But so this is someone you've got to keep a very close eye on, because VengeurR's had an explosive start in this league already.
I got really confused when you said that for a second. I was like,
yeah,
wait a minute.
I was like, I shouldn't have said it like that.
Surely my
really
prospect of
badly.
time isn't that bad. Oh my lord. But anyway, we got the picks and bans to check over, so we can talk about what kind of journey we can have. Looks like a Woken. No, it's not. I jumped the gun there. See, I never do. We were in the lobby and there was already a map set up, and I was like, I wonder if that's the one. No, it will be Corrupted Keep first. Another instance of that Ranger versus Strog. The Molten Fools, where the absolute aim of the game is going to be pure mobility. And then the final ban, actually, was removing that clutch, which is always a respect ban, I think, with SIB. Because there's not a lot of clutch players in the Pro League, but when you fight someone who isn't afraid to use that champion, it can be an experience a lot of people just don't want to deal with. So VengeurR does the right thing, removes it from play, and another visor on the ruins. So, we get to see just how common this champion remains in this season of the Pro League. But I mean, nothing really shocks us here, right? We have standard picks on keep, Molten Fools, it's all mobility. We've seen that before, nothing surprises. And then ruins, Battle of Mediums, the one potential wildcard being a clutch was quite rightly removed, so we're not going to see that either, which leaves us with a standard matchup, standard maps, and standard champions. With that in mind, I think potential for any surprises towards the side of VengeurR is eliminated, which in theory could make things a little bit trickier for SIB, purely because if you are the kind of player that can have this one almost ace up your sleeve, if you can play a champion that's a bit overbearing for a lot of people and if it makes it through the selection. You know, we've seen Clutch be absolutely terrifying in the past. That can sometimes be a great benefit for someone who is going up against an opponent that I think is definitely favored to defeat them. And VengeurR just took that opportunity right away. So it's going to be difficult. I don't want to give the impression of being disrespectful to it. I'm simply talking over the fact that VengeurR is one of the most consistently high-placing players in this Pro League. It's going to be difficult, and VengeurR has done, in the picks and bans, a good job of making sure it's going to be difficult.
Yeah, Corrupted Keep is a map VengeurR is extremely efficient on. And what a surprise, Rangers Strog, no surprise at all. You know, Slash, Athena, Multiforce, no surprise. And of course, with the amount of champions with mobility not really left set in stone, of course, we are going to go to that standard Visor Galena. This is the most, as standard, as common as you're going to get. Nothing off meta, no surprises, nothing, no span in the works. And I think the only reason why, of course, VengeurR banned that Clutch is probably 3 players who commonly use Clutch, or at least attempt to use Clutch if it's banned or not, of course, being Razy, SIB, and Strong Sage. That's the one. Almost managed to forget that one. But those 3 are the normally 3 players who normally commonly use that pick. But the good thing for those 3 players is the fact that it means they've got another champion in that wide, varied pool, which they will have to force their opponent to ban and maybe think twice about banning in the future. But of course, VengeurR doesn't want to have anything to do with it. He wants the clean sweep. He wants to guarantee his top 4 spot. Of course, he could be well in the way to go for that first seed, which is going to give him a huge amount of boost and morality, momentum going into QuakeCon. And he wants to try and get everything possible, because he saw that from Kilson, like last year in the regular season. He was able to come out first in the regular season with that first seed, give a huge amount of confidence, and then was able to win it all. For VengeurR, he wants to try and do something a little bit similar, have him a nice easy path going into QuakeCon when it goes into the day 2 of groups, and then be able to take it from there day 3, one map, one match at a time, and see how it goes. But for SIB though, yeah, I think, you know, we can't beat around the bush here. I think all of us know in chat here as well that it's going to be a tough road, a tough task, a tall order in itself, and we'll have to see if he can just try and keep the scores respectable. Could be him, but you know, it is going to be unlikely, but we'll see what SIB can do, because we haven't really seen any surprises or any differences from what we saw from maps and champion picks. But we'll have a look. We'll have a see if what indicators we'll witness in this first map on CK, onto Corrupted Keep, and we're going to be starting off from which player's perspective it's going to be. It's going to be VengeurR's. Not really too much of a surprise. Let's see what he can do with his Ranger.
Well, it's been a fairly standard start so far. The rockets in possession of VengeurR, something that he is utterly terrifying with, so we'll keep a keen eye on those, especially on this map. And I don't imagine we're going to have any surprises here, to be honest. VengeurR, on a map like this, he's going to want to get that damage. He's going to want to lay that pressure on thick when the time is right. With our next set of items, it'll be heavy first. That's no doubt why the fight is breaking out. Doesn't want to concede it for nothing, and starting off strong with a defensively placed rocket that almost completely undoes the benefits of the heavy that was just picked up, leaving VengeurR in a rather good position, because now heavy machine gun for the range, lightning gun for the mid-range, rocket launcher for the close range, and let's not forget an extra little orb in there. SIB has to work rather hard here to escape, and with VengeurR at this stage we'll be happy just to keep SIB behind. There is that horizontal rocket jump, which allows him to be here much faster than potentially SIB was expecting. I think SIB might have heard that rocket, but it's a very VengeurR thing to do, isn't it? Is to give yourself that extra burst of speed, knowing that you can get to a position much faster than your opponent, in that case able to get the frag and take the item, and now secure himself a second one. The opening minute and a half kinda just has VengeurR written all over it at the moment.
Not wrong at all. Minute and a half in already. Those 2 frags, 120 from the previous heavy machine gun. Oh, good rocket as well, just to add to that tally of damage. Oh my god, and the next one as well. SIB is going to get cleaned up. He must have felt like there's stuck in a room in a hard place there, being predicted and read like a book in terms of the position.
We talk about that potential spawn bait as well that VengeurR just did. Standing in a set location and then rocket jumping. I mean, this is why VengeurR is a dedicated scientist of the game. And all of these tiny little angles, these little advantages, stuff that you don't see every player do. It's what adds to this, I think, terrifying combination of just what makes VengeurR thrive in a matchup like this. Now SIB, to give him his credit, so 2.5 minutes already done here. There's a lot more of this map. There's a lot of opportunities maybe to make something happen, but The fact that VengeurR has began this map fresh off the bat, no brakes, no acceleration, just all top speed. This is VengeurR at the prime. This is kind of why we're a bit concerned, you know. It's quite a heavy matchup to face. And there's the orb. Oh god, we even saw Strog stand up to cancel out of it, but by then it was too little, too late.
And this is why Ranger can be so good against Strog sometimes. But if someone's going to peek at you just like that, of course, orb's going to be whipped straight out from VengeurR. It's 3 minutes, 6-0. SIB still stuck in a hard place at the moment to find his footing in this matchup.
He just hasn't had the chance to play this game yet.
No, not at all.
That's the problem. SIB has been running around and collecting what he can, but the stuff he's been able to pick up is stuff that VengeurR is completely happy to allow him to take, right? It kind of feels like at no point here has VengeurR just not been the one in control. You've been watching this from his point of view the entire map, knows exactly where his opponent is, knows exactly what angle he's going to take. And it's certainly not the first perfectly placed defensive rocket, which is just almost psychic. He just knows where he's going to be. And there's the reactionary punish on the Pika. The shotgun to secure yet another frag. Yes, a lot of damage has been done, and it might potentially prohibit a push. Oh, no. How much damage?
I think they were both on 1 HP. Literally both of them, which is something we very rarely see.
We've seen a Die Hard. We've seen the Die Hard. Is that a rare appearance of Die Hard 2?
I think so, yeah.
The underrated sequel.
That's the first time I think, yeah, definitely. I think that's the first time I've ever seen that. That's ridiculous.
VengeurR once again in a better position, with this mega being the next objective. It's a free pickup now, and difficult position for SIB to be in, as now 13 seconds until the heavy. VengeurR's mopping up a whole bunch of the light armors that are on this map. Surely SIB cannot make his presence known on this heavy. I mean, how do you even let yourself be known on this map to get damage on an item without being within damaging range yourself? It's such a small map. And in this instance now swapping straight back into the rocket. The perfect read on the strafe of SIB. We've seen some players today play a rather beautiful rocket dance on this map. I think Avec is one that comes to mind. There was a moment up near these two light health bubbles above VengeurR that he was kind of dancing all over, and somehow almost every rocket missed, right? But in this case, VengeurR making the perfect read, and that LG, oh, listen to it. The percussion, the rhythm. And now 9-0, working on 10 at least. VengeurR is looking rather unstoppable on this map so far.
Really has been. And look at the damage difference, literally dwarfing it in comparison. 2,900 damage to the 1,400 of SIBs. 13 items for VengeurR, 9 for SIB. And it's extremely difficult to have a clean sheet on Corrupted Key. We know how easy it can be to trade, but VengeurR just performing really efficiently and trying to avoid as much damage distributed from, or unreturned damage, so to speak. And he all comes out. VengeurR adding an 11th frag to his name.
Now, these are the kind of highlight moments that take place when the map is almost done and things are a little bit looser, perhaps, but not right now. VengeurR is going to keep things intense as always. And now SIB called out, not able to jump down to where he wants to go. Got to put some Death Knight shoes on, and the GG's already rolling around. But I can't say I'm surprised with how things are currently going. 12-0, yeah, we've only kind of a minute and a half over that halfway point. But with how this map is gone, I feel like it would almost be a waste of brain power to dedicate 100% to this kind of map when it's just such a lost cause. There's 2 more maps left to go, so why not just try and take the remaining kind of 3 minutes or so, collect yourself, refresh, think long and hard about the 2 maps to come, because they're still in the game. They're still ready to take.
Yeah, just absolute madness. You know, we've seen 2 1 HP matchups. We've had, which is definitely something we've never seen. Maybe one of the earliest GGs. It wasn't really. It's obviously not like a tilt. It wasn't a tilting GG or an aggressive GG. SIB literally just felt hopeless and gone. I physically feel like there's absolutely nothing I can do to come in this matchup. And that's kind of what we're talking about, as you don't really see a clean sheet, do you, on Corrupted Keep? And the fact that VengeurR was able to perform this efficiently at this high level is just just unreal. It's scary on CK.
I think it's possible sometimes for players to just be at peace with it.
Yeah.
You know, you have these situations where, as I said before, sometimes it can just be a waste of brain power. And it sounds so weird to describe it as that, but you know, with a game like this that requires so much concentration and so much focus, it can be easy to get yourself stressed out. And if you're playing in a map that's a lost cause where the opponent's very clearly taken it, what else is there left to do? I mean, even now, VengeurR's just flying around doing his thing and he's still hitting directs. Like, it just looks like another day in the office. And yeah, that's the earliest GG I've ever seen in this, but there are 2 more maps left. I've said it before and I'll say it again. We have time now to sit and think about those and try and come up with a slightly different plan, because with how VengeurR has played this, it kind of looks like Ranger is a fantastic answer to Strog on this map as well. I mean, let's just sit and talk about what Ranger can do on Corrupted Keep, which has to be one of like many reasons as to why he's so popular. First of all, rockets are super important. Ranger and rockets are best friends. The rocket jumps that allow you to do so much more. Also up close, you know, less self-damage that can help you in fights as well. Importantly, areas, and we even saw it in this map early on, situations where most champions struggle to escape. You pick up Lightning Gun, you get caught behind the gates, you can't move, you're stuck, your opponent's peppering you down with damage, or they have an LG ready to try and catch you on the escape. Horizontal rocket jumps. You're out in the blink of an eye. An opponent is not going to be able to just completely juggle you with LG because Ranger is long gone. The orb. Repositioning, taking multiple items at once, at the same time being able to just explode in damage and probably do more damage than other champions are capable of. I think other examples might be a Death Knight, but Death Knight is not going to have the utility of everything else that Ranger has. And then in a matchup like this, where Strog is as popular as Strog is on Corrupted Keep, Ranger has so many ways to bypass the Pika. And it's such a small map that does the crouch sliding mobility of a Strog really mean all that much. There are so many moving parts that you look at this and it's no surprise VengeurR is able to just treat this map like clay. You know, he can sculpt it into whatever he wants, he can play the way that suits him best and run away with a result that is as dominating as he was just finished up with here. So GG for that first map. It's time for map 2.
I don't think it's even just the map or the champion picks. I think this is like championship level VengeurR we witnessed. We witnessed this obviously back in 2021 when he won the previous QuakeCon. But he's looking extremely strong, highly consistent, but he's trying to be as efficient as possible. He's trying to treat every matchup like it's a final. So he's trying to, like, it's the micromanagement and the most minuscule plays he's trying to correct to make sure it's all done early before heading into QuakeCon. We know that there is some players out there who go on their heavy grinds 6 to 8 weeks beforehand. We've seen Dramus do it like that. We've seen Chain like that as well as a couple of examples. But VengeurR, it looks like he's been working very, very hard behind the scenes on what needs to be done in order to hit back to that quality. Because, of course, he won it back in 2021, 2022. Of course, he managed to get top 4, but in the end, he felt short and doesn't want to go through the same feeling. It's great going in as a champion the following QuakeCon, but, of course, when you do lose that belt, you lose that championship status, it does hit you a little bit. But it can go 2 ways if it hits you. Either, you know, you're full of life, energy, you really want to try and claw back, or you do all the opposite end of the spectrum and you feel like, oh god, like, what can I do now? Can I be champion again? Like, you know, you start second guessing yourself. But, you know, I do feel like emotional intelligence is confidence is a form of emotional intelligence, and he's definitely up there in terms of that, and he's definitely got the confidence to definitely make a huge impact at the next Quake World Championships, which is why we've seen him become so efficient here. Like 16-0 on Cup to Keep, like the fact that he got a clean sweep, extremely rare. Like, you will very rarely see that. But going to Molten Falls and then Ruin straight afterwards, Slash versus the Athena and the Bizer versus the Galena. We're not too sure, of course, how it's going to go in terms of scorelines, but I kind of feel like for SIB now, bit of a kick in the teeth at a scoreline, Ryan. I'm not going to lie to you in the slightest. So I kind of feel like now for SIB, just, you know, take it on the chin, just take his experience and just try and keep the scores as respectable as possible, because VengeurR's looking utterly ridiculous at the moment of how good he's performing.
Well, it kind of feels like that's what SIB was able to do. He kind of just acknowledged that, look, this ain't working, and just acknowledged the situation and decided, right, let's sort of just accept it for what it is, and now we have to kind of start thinking about this next map. I do believe there has been a client restart, so we'll take a few minutes just for that to happen, but rest assured, as soon as the player's back in, we'll be jumping in, we'll be good to go. This is a very, very, very different experience, because yes, it's a much larger map, but at the same time, it's the battle of two light champions. So it's going to be potentially a side of Molten Falls that we haven't seen yet today, which excites me, because I love a high octane Molten Falls.
I know you do.
There's just so much. There's so much space. I love the speed, man. I like how fast these people go. I like the execution is like my thing, right? I love watching it. Absolutely love watching it. I say that like I'm an execution god in this game. No, but I mean, like, from a viewer's perspective, it's like my favorite thing to watch. But at the same time now, we have refreshed. We're now going into a second map here. VengeurR, I assume, feels pretty indifferent to the situation, because he looked like $1 million before the GG was even called. And now we're going into our next map with a champion he's thoroughly experienced in, seeing a lot more of that slash. Going up against someone that, yes, it's going to be someone that can be all over the place. Athena brings that to the table, but plays the champion himself or against the champion many times. I doubt that's really going to have much bearing. The question is SIB's composure here. Is SIB going to be able to take that time, and has obviously gone for a quick client restart just to refresh things even further. It's not the first time we've seen it today. We saw it in Series 1 as well. That time can be very, very important for you as a player. And I hope for his sake, it's let him kind of just take a deep breath, go in, map 2, it's time to play again.
Yeah, he's just got to shake it off, hasn't he? But it is very difficult to shake off a map like that as well. It's a totally different map. We've got Rail in play now as well. Of course, totally different champions in terms of the mobility. So hopefully this will work a little bit more for SIB here. But it's like I said before, it's going to be an extremely tough task in itself to gain any map in this series. But all he wants to do now is to either try and keep the scores respectable or maybe steal a map. We'll have to see. Also, I don't want to speak too lowly of SIB, because obviously SIB come in extremely good player when he wants to be, but at this level, like, VengeurR, he's just been looking extremely good. I think anyone at this point would be riding a struggle bus in terms of trying to challenge him here. But we are going to start off from VengeurR's perspective to see what he can do.
VengeurR tried wishing me a happy birthday in game chat, and I will not rise to it. I will not. I will not. Ironically, though, not far off, actually, just not today.
Well, this is it, though, as well. It actually is having, but the fact that it's on the same day as April Fool's Day and VengeurR does get that first frag, I was like, it is some tough bait, but I did confirm it, but I had to literally triple check, because you just never know with chat.
You want to make too bold a statement, right? You don't want to make too bold a statement. But speaking of bold statements, one frag already in the tank here for VengeurR. And SIB, he's able to get an item. Unfortunately, though, it looks like VengeurR already leading the chase. Now, SIB does have a few little items to fall back on here. He's going to push himself super far forward in such a way that VengeurR was not ready for, and even secured a frag with the grapple hook. That is a rare occurrence, but what a moment of greatness. That's how you bring yourself back into the game.
We need down a few rockets there, but it's not going to be enough, as VengeurR needs to get out there and sharpish. Mega is up. Of course, SIB looking to go on that road to recovery as well in that previous engagement, but VengeurR does find him, was hoping to maybe catch him. A little bit of a surprise attack, but VengeurR is in a better position here, but does he have the weapons in his arsenal? Just going to have a quick check. He hasn't got the rail, but does have the LG and rockets. We may see him be a little bit aggressive depending on how he wants to go about things. But good LG coming out from SIB, but the LG is looking a bit stronger. And he does get cleaned up with that shoddy, and yeah, we kind of feel like VengeurR had to do that at some point, depending on how much range he could have got with the LG without having that rail at that time. But VengeurR looking good. Back at that 2-1 position, and now finally retaining the lead.
You could definitely see elements of frustration there off the back of that frag, just didn't quite hit the shot, and it was kind of lined up. Sometimes these things just aren't meant to be. Unfortunately, now stuck in a really horrible situation as VengeurR pushes forward towards Mega. Mega still yet to spawn for 5 seconds, right? So not entirely sure what was happening there. Either way, VengeurR is using that pure mobility all the way through commandeer both of these major items, secure himself another frag, makes the call out that perhaps SIB is there and perhaps he's going to try and get himself a rail, punishes it heavily. And SIB potentially living on borrowed time with his current stack situation, 14 HP. Here comes the plasma trail. The second you hear that plasma trail, you know disaster's about to strike. And, oh no.
There's no way he just said that.
Oh no.
Oh dear.
I hope not. I do hope not. There's still 6.5 minutes, sorry, of this map. You know, as a wise man once said, there is still time.
Yeah,
but I just don't feel like the confidence is there today, you know. And I don't want to beat on it too much, you know, because
no, of course.
Sometimes players just don't have their day, and it's the nature of competition. And if you're not feeling it, you're not feeling it. But there's still time on this map left to go, man. There's still time, and there's still a map left as well.
Could be that tactical GG. It's like on CS where they say they're AFK on spawn, but they're actually not. So it could be.
Wait, that's a thing.
Yeah. It can be. I've seen probably about 1,000 times. That's why when I saw the GG, I was
that's
like,
what we call mind games, dude. Oh my lord. Oh my lord.
Correct. But SIB is just basically just letting us know that he's in some deep trouble now at the moment. But we were saying what the earliest GG was. What was it? 6.5 minutes in the last map. But SIB's broken another new world record here. 7-1 now, favour of Wenger. No damage taken at last engagement. Still got massive sack. All the weapons he would like to play with. It's going to be greeted by him once again. But actually, he is legit a little bit AFK.
No, I mean, just maybe, you know, just elements of being frustrated, you know, it does happen to people. But I think at the same time, being able to keep yourself mentally on top of things, that can be a challenge in itself. This game requires a lot of concentration, and it requires you to be completely focused. And it can be very easy for things to just simply throw you off. It's a brutal game. It's a punishing game. And with someone like VengeurR, who is just relentless here, and he's giving it everything every step of the way, it's a very different story for him.
SIB now just getting away. Mega's up any second. Energy comes out, but Wenger just still continuing to work with that high ground. But SIB's expecting to go across. Sadly misses the rail, but Wenger's going to hit his. Wenger still pick up those bubbles to continue on that road to recovery. Is Heavy will be up in 10. Let's see who's got a better position. Can't even say the word at the time, but nice try bonk there. 36 damage. Rail comes out from SIB again. So this is going to be, of course, Wenger's cue to back away and just manage to back off. And now, of course, Mega came up in the next couple of seconds. Just trying to feed himself info. Great rail to start things. Another good rocket and the rail to boot straight afterwards. Wenger looking so strong in this series. And, of course, it can, you know, for some people, it can throw him off when they preemptive GG, but Wenger's not really doing what he did last time, cut to keep, and then just, you know, waiting for the timer for the next couple of minutes. He's going to continue playing strong. Doesn't want to waste time for the next 7 minutes. Want to continue on that path of destruction to add that more to the tally here. So we've got the Mega next 5 seconds, Ryan, and it looks like Wenger's on the path to try and clean him up, and it looks like he will be grabbing that uncontested.
I imagine it is a bit of a strange situation for VengeurR, to be honest with you, because you know, he's going into every map, and this is tournament mode, right? You know, we're playing in these weeklies where every map counts. So VengeurR, being the champion level player that he is giving it that 150% regardless. It just must feel a bit strange right now. You know, you're fighting off against someone who has definitely sort of taken their foot off the gas a little bit and is appearing quite defeated. And I mean, for VengeurR, that's really not going to be his problem in any way. But yeah, I do imagine it's a little bit odd, you know? No other way to describe it, really. It's just strange.
Yeah, this day and age, I'll just say it is what it is. It just happened, you know. It's kind of felt out of his comfort zone after his first few frags, but yeah, I'm not going to go too much into it because a lot of people could be different as a mental standpoint. It's sometimes he probably felt it was quite hopeless so early on, but yeah, these things do happen, I'm afraid. As Wenger now still with that massive stack, 2.5 minutes, 9-1. It does mean SIB sadly has only had one frag in the last nearly 20 minutes. And again, another lovely rail to add to the collection there, Ryan.
I did not even know that plasma trail was... I mean, I've been watching it from the other point of view, and...
oh, yeah.
Yeah, that plasma trail was definitely a jump scare. I'm not going to lie.
an old school jump scare.
Old school, my friend. Some stock wah music, you know.
Not long at all. Is Wenger now just playing with his food at the stage, waiting for him to go back through. Finds him, cleans him up with a shotgun. Wouldn't have thought or expected anything less here. Natural, if he comes from behind, of course he won't be. Spawn on the opposite side of the map. Heavy's up the next couple of seconds. And yeah, they could be seeing a very heavy difference in frags, depending on how this third map goes as well. Finds him with the LG. Great rail straight afterwards. 90 seconds left here, Ryan. 12-1.
There's not much left. I think I've said this already on the first map, but there's not much left to do but talk about the final map. Where the difference being that, if I'm not mistaken, it is Ruins, that similar in size to that of Molten, and with VengeurR looking really just comfortable here and just rolling around doing kind of whatever he wants, really. You kind of, we have no choice but to sit here and wonder, is map 3 even going to be the same? Because I will admit I've not commentated Quake Champions in a long time where I've kind of experienced this. It's been a fair few years for me, so you kind of just have to remember, you know, what would a player do here? It's just, you have no choice but to just give it everything you got. VengeurR, no doubt, is going to be full-on intensity, as he always is. And there's, in a rare case, there's just not much to talk about. As strange as that sounds, I generally believe we do not have a lot to talk about right now.
Could have created a 7-minute podcast, I suppose, considering the GG from earlier on. But SIB is, you know, he's supplying us with the entertainment and the banter anyway. But it's you know, of course, better than nothing anyway. Having that one frag in 20 minutes, of course, not the. Sadly, it's not a talk about. I don't want to mention too much because, of course, it's a sad feat in itself. But we'll have to see how he goes on the third map. See if anything's gonna arise going into this. But VengeurR just again, tier S stuff, Class A work. What more do you expect from him? As yeah, GG's for both players, and VengeurR doing what he does best, looking to create that 3-0 series win and maybe, just maybe, get into the top spot. But of course, guys at home, do remember that VengeurR does have a match left in hand compared to the likes of Rafa and Razy.
Indeed, and with today at least having a series victory under his belt, I think with the way things are going, probably going to be more than 2. This is just very much another day in the office for VengeurR, and an opportunity to just collect some points and just set up for the future weeks to come. It doesn't get more simple than that. He's just looking absolutely fantastic, and I know he's not looking very challenged, and there are, you know, potentially many reasons for that right now. But we're still looking at VengeurR in a fantastic form. We saw a lot more of it, I think, in map 1 though than we did in map 2. Map 2 was just a bit more unusual. Map 1, we just got to see execution, aggression, just perfect aim, kind of everything you need. And then a little bit more of that. So, final map now as we go in with Galena versus the Visor. We'll see how things go on our third map here. VengeurR probably gonna collect that 3-0 today.
Cool. Chat have been quite brutal in terms of the predictions as well. In terms of well, I was going to increase their channel points, but I don't think they're going to get too much with it being 99% to the 1%. It was 100 at one point, but some people have faith. Some people do have faith here going into Ruins. It will be of course, the Vice versus the Galena matchup. And this was the matchup as well where, you know, we spoke about it right at the very beginning of the picks and bans as well. All of these maps, nothing different, no surprises, nothing off meta, no span in the works, nothing really which could, you know, could change things here. It's something which we could predict quite comfortably here, unless SIB can keep the scores respectable. But sadly, which he hasn't, because VengeurR's got this vibe about him now in terms of his play style and his confidence, but he's just making people give up so early in comparison. But he's just been looking very efficient. I mentioned it before, he's looking in championship form, isn't he, compared to what we've seen so far. And this is great to see, because the top 8 going into QuakeCon is going to be a lot more unpredictable than what we would normally expect, maybe in comparison to last year. So this is going to be the third map if you're just joining us. VengeurR is currently up 2-0 in this best of, in the best of 3, or first of 3 rather, but in the end, though, VengeurR, starting off from his perspective, does get that first initial rail. He's looking for the second, but see what more he can do here, as he does try to get additional bit of damage distributed. Not going to happen, but we'll pick up the light and is now heading over towards that Mega surely.
But in rather classic fashion, understanding that the opponent's nowhere near this item and there's nothing they can do to challenge it, so why not push forward and get a little bit of bonus damage first? No, hang on a minute, SIB able to get that first frag on the board here. VengeurR was really not able to hit any of his shots in that opening 40 seconds. Those rails didn't hit anything, and neither did those rockets, I suppose. But either way, SIB now, one frag up here. What does he do with this lead? VengeurR popping that piercing sight. Using it to take that Mega first. Now will no doubt drop down and try and take this heavy. The LG's in play. Is SIB going to be able to take this? Oh, they trade it out! As the totem gets dropped, and oh, VengeurR gets the far superior spawn, picks up an LG that was dropped by one of the deaths, and able to get the heavy at the exact same time. That is perfect case scenario for VengeurR right there, Harry.
Yeah, he had rockets, LG, picked up the rail straight afterwards, and the heavy, got the unholy Trinity, got the 70-something damage here with that previous rocket. Pretty solid. Remember, SIB still does have the lead. As the heavy will be up in the next 5 seconds. VengeurR just biding his time at the moment on that heavy jump pad. See if he can get a cheeky little rail in before he goes on up. Doesn't get it, but doesn't matter. He comes out unscathed, but he could get pinned into the courtyard, which he has done, sadly. So he needs to get another rail. Maybe finish up the LG or go 2 for 2 here. We'll have to see how he goes about it. Hits the first one. Will he be able to hit the second? He's on 4 HP. Misses it as SIB does claim his third frag.
Much better turn of events for SIB right now. And one problem that he has had, though, is that he hasn't been able to use this lead to control a huge amount of these items. Quite often now, VengeurR has spawned close enough to something that I'm able to just spawn and collect it and move on with his merry day, but 10 seconds until Mega. Now opening damage is so good there for VengeurR. A little bit of LG, the rail to boot. Just needs one little bit extra for this Mega to really matter, but VengeurR will have timing, and that's as good as it's going to get for him right now. SIB, Mega in play, does not have any armor though, and that's where this next objective comes into play. Heavy, who's going to be able to take it? SIB. It's unusual placement, actually. I thoroughly expected SIB to maybe go down towards heavy. Maybe it was a lack of weaponry. Maybe he just needed some ammo or something.
Oh, a nice rail there from SIB.
Lovely shot.
He's on the path here, Ryan. He's looking good so far compared to those first 2 maps. Very level-headed in this entire series. Hitting 2 for 2, which is definitely not what I've been expecting so far. Misses the first rail on the spawn here, but VengeurR's on the hunt to see what he can do. We'll have the overstack as well, just to complement the amount of armor he's going to have. And yeah, this is looking very strong. And with those 2 totems there, it's going to deny VengeurR to go for a heavy if he holds that heavy jump pad position. But yeah, this is entirely, I think a lot of us did not expect. And I can tell you what, Ryan, the 1% of the population in chat who literally using their channel points to at least could be very, very wealthy people here, Ryan. Very wealthy from what we've seen. But we've still got 6 minutes left.
I don't know what's going on, Harry. I don't know. This is the most unusual series of Quake I think I've ever commentated. SIB absolutely bringing it home right now. Perhaps I spoke a little bit too soon there as VengeurR does pick up a frag, but he's got a comeback to make. SIB sitting on 6 here just versus VengeurR's measly 2. And I've got to say, he's been hitting some absolutely lovely rails as well. SIB's accuracy has been on point. And now looking to make chase. Ooh, narrowly misses that defensive rocket. And now when it comes to stack, especially with that health that VengeurR was just able to collect, we are relatively even here. A notable exception being that SIB does have a totem, one that will comfortably overstack him as we move towards the next Mega in play. Now VengeurR is going to have to do something about these totems. He's going to have to do it soon.
Yeah, it's going to get a little bit out of hand at the moment. Of course, he's still got to overstack and he's picking up the Mega, so
5-minute warning.
what VengeurR can do here. Still got 5 minutes left in play. Of course, he hasn't got the mobility, but then again, neither player does. Both items are in sync with each other, so there's no going to be too much contention from either side. Not really much. There's a full control. I think you're just using that piercing sight once again just to confirm his whereabouts, but you can hear him directly underneath. Anyway, we'll be dropping down good timing as well. And we'll be cleaning up that totem. So clean up the totems and just trying to be as proactive and efficient as possible. Of course, he doesn't want to deal with that choke point. The amount of damage he took previously, and this is going to be tough for Wenger. It just depends on how well SIB can play not from a defensive standpoint, but of course he's not looking to waste time this early on, but needs to really keep his distance as Wenger will be able to take him down, making that free, pulling his way back slowly but surely. And could he make this fall if he wants to go for it, but it wants to prioritize the items instead. Perfectly understandable as that piercing sight once again.
Yeah, one of the difficult things there was there was no opportunity for Wenger to think about the next item because ammo was the absolute goal there. He'd run out of LG, and that LG, such a big part of that last frag that he obtained, catching on to somewhat of a defensive pattern from SIB there, knowing he was going to go up the jump pad. The missed rail really gave him that green light to push forward, knowing there was nowhere near as much threat when it comes to damage he was going to take. Wenger, it's a long road, but one that is currently paying off. SIB eating that rail for breakfast should be able to take that heavy. Is the rail going to connect though and undo the hard work? No chance to be had as Wenger decides, you know what, nope, we'll cycle these items. There is a delay now between the two of them, and there is one totem stepped on. One thing I was going to mention that I haven't yet is SIB has done a wonderful job of splitting up those totems. They're so rarely in the same place, and his access to overstack has been pretty regular. So his use of Galena has been top-notch so far. Now the fight, how's it going to go? SIB doesn't quite manage to pull that one off. And the heavy will be taken now by Wenger as well. Only 2 frags behind now. There's time for him to bring this one back too. But if SIB's able to even get himself another frag on the board, it's just going to add to the amount of work required for Wenger to pull this one off and take home a 3-0. I don't think any of us expected this map to go this way. I'm so confused.
Same. I think the entire series has just been a bundle and a bunch of confusion. It's been really, really weird. Like, people were going to look at these score lines with the 16-0 and 13-1, and then obviously now SIB with the scoreline potentially have to take down Wenger. They're just going to probably watch the series back and go, what on earth happened? Like, it's just going to be completely misunderstood, and it's going to give him more reason, of course, watch these maps back, because it has been interesting, but weirdly interesting. As still got 2 minutes left here. Wenger still with a chance in order to try and bring this back. This heavy is going to be a good start, though, especially if he gets it uncontested or unscathed to the very least. It's going to be extremely important. I kind of feel like this one frag could maybe help him go for back-to-back frags, especially around Mega, to try and pin him down at one of the spawn locations. We'll have to see.
Getting a good read on the drop-down, though, is SIB. And that's going to be a rail for his troubles. The start of something potentially more here. And as I said, the separation of these 2 totems that he's had so far. 20 seconds, he'll get one more. An aggressive push, but really good defensive rocket there from SIB. 95 damage, and now he makes chase. Wenger's in trouble. SIB takes another shot, and this one will seal that deal, giving himself a frag on the board, and now so much more work for Wenger. This is going to be a lot of work if he wants to get this map win. SIB, I don't know what happened, but SIB is now able to maybe fight back here. Wenger secures a frag, still needs 2 more, 50 seconds on the clock. Perhaps SIB did just, take that deep breath. I know he had a client restart earlier. Just refresh, but oh my lord, that rocket! Ooh. No, the rail! Oh no, not now! Not now! Not after all this work!
Oh, it is
SIB, no!
Oh no, he's still chasing him as well here, Ryan. Cleans him up with the LG, makes it 7 apiece. As if he's clawed his way back. You got to remember, guys, Wenger's only dropped 1 map all season long, and this would have been his second, and SIB could have damaged his chances to claim that first seed back in the league. Good rocket, but good rail. Doesn't go off the map, of course. 10 seconds until we go into sudden death. Like I said before, some people in chat will be quite wealthy from the channel points they would have gained with that 99% to 1% prediction, and Would have occurred. Hits the rail. Both available. Neither player wants to take that chance or take that gamble. Heavy is up. Mega has been picked up instantly by SIB.
And
if he picks up the Heavy, this will be huge.
VengeurR, both items taken, and now SIB in a really good position. VengeurR is in trouble. Cannot eat a single rail, otherwise he is in absolute last chance territory. A defensive angle now can drop down. Can he keep himself healthy? SIB, this is your opportunity, mate. You've got the control, you've got the items, you've got the stack, you've got the ammo, you've got the weapons. And for the first time all series long, you've got the momentum. It's time to make magic things happen. VengeurR, if there's one player out there that became famous from playing from behind, VengeurR was the one. This is a situation he's been in many times before. What a test.
This has gone to sudden death. This has been such a weird series, but I've enjoyed every minute of it as the Mega has been picked up. Heavy's up in 5. VengeurR just decided what he wants to do, if he wants to take the risk to go on the heavy jump pads and drop down to get a bit of chip damage, but no, not going to be the case. We could be seeing this kind of situation for a while here, Ryan. It just depends on what's going to happen and how VengeurR, in terms of his damage distribution, really.
I feel like VengeurR is not going to want to take a fight unless opening unreturned damage has been dealt. He's not going to want to put himself near any of these items unless... Hang on a minute. Wait, 2 rails, VengeurR. He's weak and he's in trouble. But SIB, choosing to control above all else, keep your opponent behind. My lord, I'm so nervous right now and I'm not even the one playing.
Oh, I really am as well. Oh, perfect time. If VengeurR was caught there, that would have been it. That would have been G. But
oh yeah, that's the point of no return right there.
Exactly. He's still looking for these lights. He's still looking for these bubbles. But the problem is, yeah, he's not even thinking about chip damage at the moment. He's just thinking about staying alive. He hasn't not even thought twice about it yet. And the good thing is the piercing sight is going to get consistently give him confirmation of where he's going to be. But that's good though. At least while he recovers, he can continue to do some of his damage with that piercing sight. Not going to have it for a while though. He needs to keep his totems in check. He needs to be, the problem is for VengeurR, he's behind on items and needs to be so proactive at the same time. But the direct is going to be huge here for VengeurR, but he's still a little bit worried about the circumstances. Another bit of damage and the rail comes out from SIB, but also back again from VengeurR, backing away again. And of course for SIB, he isn't available. VengeurR, of course he is, but yeah, my goodness. A couple of seconds now, Heavy does respawn. VengeurR's got his piercing sight once again to find a little bit of chip along the way.
An unreturned rail, that's really big for VengeurR to just stay alive a little bit. It's not going to deter SIB from pushing forward. However, it just means you have to do a little bit less afterwards, right? One less rail you need to hit, one less rocket you need to hit. VengeurR, no armor to his name yet.
Oh no! That must have been the direct. That must have been a direct. I think it was on. I think he literally was on 100 HP, wasn't he? That's so unfortunate. But SIB does take down VengeurR on the 3rd and final map. I think we're going to have some pretty rich people in chat.
I don't understand what happened in this whole series. I'm so confused, Harry.
It's just, I just don't get it. Like the scorelines for the first 2 maps should have been clear indicators, but yeah, this is just probably going to continue to a 3-0. But looks like sadly VengeurR does lose his second map to SIB, and he made a great comeback, don't get me wrong, but it was SIB's to lose, SIB's to win really, wasn't he? He had all the items going into sudden death and then got to fill out with a matter of time, but VengeurR did manage to stay alive throughout that entire process. Unbelievable. But yeah, Direx is going to clean up and get that first map win for SIB in that series.
I don't get it. I don't know. I don't understand how all that happened. What a weird series. But hey, look, gotta give SIB those props.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
And especially the confident control on the top. There were a couple of instances kind of in the middle of the map too where items were kind of being given away as well. You know, didn't want to overextend, didn't want to push too hard. But there were some real moments where SIB just nailed every shot that he needed to nail. And even down to that final moment, 100 damage, count it. Just like that, gives SIB a map victory. And Oh my lord! I mean, don't get me wrong. That is an important map to win because you just know that you can do it, right? You know that you've got it in you to do it. Against someone like VengeurR, who is one of the best in the game right now. Off the back of 2 maps that you could definitely feel that the confidence wasn't there. The morale had been dropped to the point where in Molten Falls, a GG was almost called about 3.5 minutes into the map, right? To the point where we're sitting there thinking, I have no idea what's going on right now. And then I was kind of nervous going into the 3rd map because I had no idea what was going to happen. And just like that, SIB brings out a map victory to finish things off. That's got to be the weirdest series of Quake I've ever commentated. But you know what? We'll remember it, won't we? We will.
Yeah.
We will.
I even screenshot the prediction of the 99% to 1% because it's so rare you see anything like that. And the fact that he came up on top swinging, like, I've never known someone to go lose a crop to keep 16-0, only get 1 frag and Molten, give up on the 3-minute mark, and then just come out guns blazing on the 3rd map as though it's the winning map in the series. It was
a message.
But you know what? Fair play to him. I did say I'm Molten, but you know he's an entertainer, brings the banter, and he brought the dub as well at the final part of that series. It was just unbelievable. But yeah, it's gone from a series which I probably won't remember to I'm absolutely going to remember now.
Well, I think we all need a minute to think about that one because now we've got our next series getting ready to go, Dramas versus Rafa, and we will see you in a few minutes' time. See you in a bit, I guess.